Hello, everyone. I'm so very happy to meet you again in this Trash Transformers channel. Take a look at this. Can you guess what it is? Yeah, that's right. This is a ship. Let's say it's a toy battleship. Would you like to know how to make it? Alright, I'll share with you how to make it. First, let's prepare some tools and materials. We'll need a knife or cutter, a ruler, and for materials, we'll use a broomstick or skewer or something similar. Most importantly, we need a clean banana leaf stalk. Also, prepare a valve or rubber bands. Are you all ready? But before we get to the steps, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on our various interesting ideas and creations. Alright, now, let's proceed to the first step, which is cutting several parts for the bottom of the ship, consisting of 3 banana leaf stalks. Try to make them the same size, or if they're not exactly the same, place the odd one in the middle. The cutting size is up to you. In this example, I'm cutting 3 stalks, each about 60 centimeters long. The second step is to make 6 pieces of banana leaf stalks, each about 8 to 10 centimeters long. The length of these pieces must be the same because they will be used to set the width between the main stalks and prevent them from shifting left or right, while also adding strength to the bottom of the ship. The arrangement of the stalks is as I've demonstrated here. The middle section is positioned slightly forward. This is done to create space at the stern of the ship, which will be used for the ship's propeller. Step 3 is to create the supports for the ship's floor. The length of these supports should be adjusted to match the width of the ship's bottom. Step 4. Create the ship's floor section, which should be the same length as the bottom part we made earlier. The difference is in the middle section. The middle stalk should be cut longer, about 5 to 10 centimeters longer than the other stalks. The end of this middle stalk should be made pointed to make it more attractive. Pay attention to the arrangement of the stalks, as I've demonstrated here, and remember that the middle stalk is made pointed to make it more attractive. Step 5. We make the ship's masts. The shape and number of masts can be adjusted according to your own desires and creativity. In this example, we're only making a simple version. Here's the shape of the masts. The height of the masts I'm demonstrating here is about 50 centimeters. They consist of two relatively thin stalks of equal length. The next step, we begin assembling the ship, starting from the bottom part. Use the broomsticks or similar items that we prepared earlier. Sharpen one end of each stick. After sharpening the broomsticks, start assembling the ship by piercing the banana leaf stalks from the edge, as I've demonstrated. To make it stronger, try to use broomsticks that are long enough to go through without being cut or joined. Additionally, Use thicker broomsticks for even greater strength. Position the spacer stalks between the main stalks according to your preference and taste. I prefer to place them in this position. There's a slightly longer gap from the front end of the ship. This is because these spacers will also serve as support for the mast later. Sometimes the sticks may be difficult to pull through. If this happens, we can first slide or pull the stalk that has already been pierced, then pull the stick to insert it into the next stalk. Continue this process throughout. Adjust the stalks that have been pierced by the sticks so they are close together, and break or cut off the unused ends of the sticks at the edges to make it neat. Proceed with assembling the ship's floor, starting by adding the supports we made earlier. These will function as reinforcements and spacers between the stalks on the bottom part. These supports will also serve as floor props and maintain the distance between the stalks to prevent them from shifting relative to each other. After arranging the ship's floor stalks, insert the sticks to connect the stalks together. If using one stick isn't strong enough, we can add one or more additional sticks as nails to reinforce the connection. Repeat the same steps for all sections. If the banana leaf stalks are difficult to pierce with the sticks, make small pilot holes using a knife or cutter. Just like in the previous step, break off or cut the unused ends of the sticks to keep it neat. Repeat this process for all the stalks that need to be connected. If a stalk is too hard to pierce, tap the stick, as I've demonstrated. Alternatively, you can create pilot holes, as I showed earlier. Now, it's time to install the ship's masts. Please pay close attention. To prevent the ship's masts from being too close together, I reduced half of the lower part of the mast by cutting it on one side. After that, arrange and position the ship's masts like this, or according to your own creation. The key is to make it as attractive as possible. Connect the masts to both the lower and middle parts of the hull to make them stronger. Use several toothpicks as nails until the ship's mast stands strong and sturdy. Add several sticks as accessories to the ship's masts according to your needs and creativity. Add supporting beams to the lower part of the ship's masts if necessary. This is also useful for reinforcing the masts when the ship is in waters with strong winds, preventing them from collapsing or getting damaged. Attach these reinforcements using toothpicks as nails, similar to the previous steps. In this example, I will create some ship accessories that appear to function as weapons on the ship. I'll make them simple, but if you want to make them better and more attractive, you can add more according to your own taste and creativity. Place the accessories according to your preference. Here, I'm just giving an example like this. Don't forget to use toothpicks with sharpened ends to attach these sticks. Wow, now, a warship is almost finished. It's time we move on to the last step, which is making the stern, or the wheel that will propel the ship when it's on the water. Later. To make the stern or propeller wheel for the ship, cut a piece about 10 centimeters long and about 3 or 5 centimeters wide after thinning it as I've shown here. The wider the wheel, the more powerful it will be in moving the ship, and vice versa. This also depends on using a stronger or larger rubber band. Most importantly, the diameter of the wheel should not touch the back of the ship, because if it does, the wheel won't be able to rotate and won't propel the ship. Don't forget to make a slight groove in the middle of this stern wheel. Its function is to keep the tied rubber band from slipping. Then tie a rubber band or other rubber used on the wheel we've made earlier as a replacement, as I've demonstrated here. Adjust the length of the remaining rubber so that they are equal to each other. After that, insert toothpicks into the back of the ship on the right and left sides of the bottom of the ship. This is to tie the right and left sides of the rubber that has been attached to the propeller wheel we made earlier. Then, pay attention to how to tie it, as I've demonstrated. After tying the rubber bands to the right and left sides of the wheel, position all the rubber bands at the bottom of the shaft. This ensures that when placed in water, the driving wheel will be fully submerged, and as it rotates, it will generate propulsive force. To generate propulsive force from the driving wheel, we've just tied. Rotate it as I'm demonstrating, while the rubber bands feel somewhat taut or tight. Then hold it in place. After placing the boat on the water, release the wheel we've been holding. Watch as I demonstrate this. Good job. See you next time.